First, during Pickton's trial, lab staff testified that about 8 unidentified DNA profiles, roughly half male and half female, have been detected on evidence. The second was a loaded .22 revolver with a dildo over the barrel.
Excuse me, what?
Pickton claimed to have attached the dildo to his weapon as a makeshift silencer. This explanation was impractical at best.
I'm shocked.
And revolvers are nearly impossible to silence in this manner.
That's
disgusting.
I never heard that part of this story.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to perform an autopsy?
Ever wanted to know how accurate your favorite crime drama is?
If you're brave enough,
join us inside the morgue.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Inside the Morgue. We're your favorite spooky girls and pathology duo, Jess and Alice. And today we are watching one of our favorite shows
Love
ever,
this show.
Rosewood.
It's so fun and ridiculous.
Little gadgets.
It's little crazy gadgets.
And just how off the wall he is.
Yeah, he's like Batman.
We watched season 1, episode 21, Wooburite and the Women of Rosewood.
Mm-hmm. Is this our first season 1 that we've watched? No, it can't be. Of this show.
I don't remember.
You tell us. Go back and watch all of our last episodes.
We've watched. We have like a running list of like keeping track of all the episodes, but I can't remember if this is the only season 1. I don't think it is.
I don't think it can't be. We've watched the show so many times, and I think there's only 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it lasted on air very long. It should, though. It's fantastic. I love it.
It's so whimsically fantastic. But we're going to get into a lot of true crime for this one. We have a whole like long, famous, like infamous one that we found that I think goes really well with what is being talked about in the episode. Mm-hmm. Getting into some dental stuff. So let's get into it.
Before we get into it, we are coming at you from Young Junk over in Manayunk, PA in Philadelphia. And hey, if you want to start a podcast, Terry, how can they do that?
Hey, gang, if you want to start a podcast with us, get in line. But also, youngjunk.com. We're always looking for new talent, like the Spooky Girls, who another client referred to as recently.
Spooky Girls, that's us. Terry told us that we've been referred to as the Spooky Girls.
I love that.
All I ever want to be called. So I wear it as a badge of honor. All right, now let's get into it. So we open on a man walking into a bank, and he's like decked out in like a white suit and carrying 2 briefcases.
Yeah.
Which just immediately to me rings alarm bells.
There was like this whole montage of him.
One briefcase.
He also had a gun that we saw like him pack away.
Yeah. No, but people in the bank like recognize him. They're like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Spitz."
Yeah.
So like he's decked out in white and has a white hat, 2 briefcases, and the
That's
2
weird.
briefcases is what did it for me. And then he hands the woman at the bank teller a note. She looks a little surprised. Doesn't look like, oh my God, I'm about to die. So I don't know what the note says. We find out later. But we cut to Rosewood. His friend, wink, wink, Aubrey, who is a doctor at a mental hospital, psychiatric hospital, has a patient that has been missed their appointment. And Rosewood seems to think it's suspicious. Because he's Rosewood. He has a knack for these things. It's
like his sixth sense.
His sixth sense. He thinks everything's suspicious. So Rosewood goes to Via for help to find him. And Aubrey is adamant that there is something wrong and that this man never misses an appointment with her, even though he's only been missing for about 4 hours. And Via says that's not a missing person. That's someone who's late. But anyway, they do go to his house, and Via attempts to find a way in after making Aubrey say that she thinks this man is a danger to himself. Mm-hmm. She's like, I have to hear you say it out loud, and then I'll find a way in. She says it out loud. So they go to the house. They see his passports on the table. They don't go into his house. They go into his yard, which he has a very nice.
He's like, this is like a mansion.
Millionaire. He has a mansion, beautiful in-ground pool. And they like poke their head in through their sliding glass doors and see that his passport's still on the table. Not a lot seems out of place. And what does Rosewood says something ridiculous. He like picks up the shirt.
Oh my God.
And he's like, based on the absorption level, I think he was swimming about 3 hours ago. And I'm like, what
how
are you talking about?
What are you on?
You are a forensic pathologist. What do you mean that you're feeling this shirt? And you're like, 3 hours ago.
3 hours ago,
somebody was swimming here. That is absurd.
That's like a seventh sense.
It's absurd. Beyond the sixth one.
He's on a different level.
And then we cut to a farm. We see this man going in to feed his pigs. But guess what? The pigs are already being fed with a dead body. There's a dead body in there.
Oh my God.
And they are munching on it. And turns out it's Calvin, the missing patient. So now this is a murder, and Rosewood was right to be suspicious.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. We need the clicker.
Oh no. So we cut to the autopsy scene, and at autopsy, Rosewood is completing his overall findings. The original cause that he thinks it seems to be from blunt force trauma. The victim has bone issues and is way more fragile than he should be for someone of his age. He seems to be like a middle-aged, like regular man.
Just a guy.
Just a random guy. And his hand was actually severed from the carpometacarpal joint, so like where his wrist is. And it exposed the ulna and the radius bone.
Which is, ulna is the one that attaches to your
pinky.
Your pinky.
And the radius
is
your thumb.
Yeah.
And the hair and the scalp was torn down to the periosteum. So he was like fully scalped.
Well, it doesn't attach to your pinky. I know people are going to come for me if I say mine. It's on the pinky.
That's on that side.
It's on that side. That's how I remember it. It's on the pinky side, guys. I know my
anatomy.
I know my anatomy. Don't come at me, please.
I have a skeleton
I'm
at work.
very sensitive.
I get self-conscious.
I'm self-conscious.
And the bank of this man seemed to have attempted to rob in the beginning. They called the police department, and they're saying that they have security footage of this guy, and they think that it'll be helpful for Via for her to like track down
like,
what he was doing the last 12 hours.
We saw Calvin a few hours ago, and they're like, what do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? And the footage shows him, Calvin, withdrawing money at the teller's desk, and he drew $2 million in cash.
That's what the thing said. He's like, hey, I want to take $2 million out of my account, which is why she was like,
yeah. And they say that because that's such a large sum of money, you have to do like a fingerprint confirmation to like make sure that it's you. I guess drawing this out of the account, like confirming ID.
Is that a thing?
It's not at my bank. I mean, I don't even have.
I'll never know because I'll never have that much money. But hey, if you're out there and you know,
thanks
you
for
have that much
assuming that I would know.
I just think you're a secret millionaire and you've never told me. This is how I was trying to get you to tell me that you're actually a millionaire.
No, I'm not gonna do it. Not in a recording.
Smart.
So Via calls Rosewood to inform him of this discovery, and Rosewood says that the guy on his table, Calvin, it couldn't have been the same guy robbing the bank this morning because this body has been dead for 3 days.
So somebody else was swimming in that shirt. That was
three hours ago. From the moisture level.
So back at the autopsy, there is a break in the scaphoid bone, and it is not a cut made by the sharp teeth of an adult pig, but from a surgical saw. The hand was cut off by a killer. The killer used the thumbprint of the hand to get into the bank. I'm just picturing like, it just like had, you know, when you have like a little fake hand for like Halloween. And you like hold it. I'm picturing him holding like the dead guy's hand in his sleeve, like his sleeve's up a little too high, and he's like holding the dead guy's hand, like, "Hello, I'm here to collect my money," and it's just a hand that he has no control over.
So I know you didn't watch Happy Gilmore 2, but you know the guy who like his hand was cut off by an alligator and he had the fake hand.
That's what
So the son of that guy that was like his son in the movie came back, and like he played an important part in like Happy Gilmore's like recovery and being into like a golfer. He did that. It looked like his hand was like way longer than his regular hand, and he was just holding.
What I'm picturing this guy doing with the dead guy's hand to break into the bank, and everybody's like, "Seems fine.
It looks normal to me.
Seems legit."
Like when two kids are in a trench coat, it looks normal to me.
3 kids in a trench coat. So the killer used the thumbprint from this dead hand to break into the bank, or sneak into the bank, and use the fingerprint scanner to take out $2 million. The killer also had to look like Calvin to make this more believable. So looking at the body, scalp is completely torn off. Also not from the pigs. It was torn off to use to make a hairpiece that was his exact style and color.
Weird.
I feel like there's so many other routes
you could have just gotten a wig.
That's what I'm thinking. Like how did he make this not look insane? Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you've done this before, right? You're straight up Buffalo Bill over
You're
there.
really assuming a lot about me.
You're a millionaire who's done this before.
I'm just thinking of Dwight Schrute with the plastic face over his head.
I was just thinking of Silence of the Lambs, which is what Dwight is doing in that scene. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, so the hair was torn off to make a hairpiece, which is absolutely insane. And I love that's immediately what Rosewood is like, oh my God, clearly.
I've seen this before. He did it again.
I've seen this before. Damn. Not again. A hairpiece. So we pan to a screen in the autopsy suite showing what we assume is the dissected stomach. This killed me. It is... All right, so we've talked about the consistency of what a stomach looks like when you take it out. It's kind of like partially filled water balloon is like the closest thing I can think of.
That's always how I describe it.
But it's not even that, like, is still a little off. But it's like, it's a flappy sack. Like,
and
it
it's
is
thin too. It's not
thin.
this like it doesn't have any thickness to it. It's really thin, like a balloon.
This reminded me of like a larger, like somebody cracked open a nut.
Yeah.
And like it was
God,
hard.
yes.
It was cut in half and very thick.
And it had the inside texture like a walnut does.
Yes, and like that's called rugae in like the stomach. Your stomach does have wrinkles in the lining of it
to help it expand when you eat a lot.
And it's called rugae. So I think that's what they were going for, but it was just looked hard and solid and not the right consistency or texture at all.
It wasn't good. No,
if they hadn't said like this is a stomach, I would have not known what they were going for.
Because I tell you, I paused this and I stared at the screen for like a solid minute, and I was like, what the fuck is on my screen right now? What am I looking at? What is this?
Yeah. So it looks really dried out. There's no stomach contents in it, which shows that Calvin hadn't eaten for at least 48 hours prior to his death, according to Mr. This shirt is wet.
And he was dead for
Rosewood.
at least 3 days. So I feel like it wouldn't even look like that.
Yeah, dead for 3 days and being eaten by pigs. They showed a little bit of decomp on the body, like a little bit of discoloration around the face and the arms and stuff, but like I think it would have been a little further gone.
Right.
Yeah. There was no substance found on the wrists of the body, and they discover that there was substance. Sorry, I can't read. There was viscous substance found on the wrist of the body, and they discover that it's actually glue, the kind that is most commonly found in duct tape. So they're thinking now that Calvin had been held for days without food or water. So essentially he was kidnapped. Via and the captain find out from listening to the therapy notes that Calvin grew up in a foster system and was adopted by a rich family, and he took their last name, Spitz. They previously thought that he didn't have any siblings, but he actually has a biological twin brother. So Via and Rosewood pay the twin brother a visit and learn that Calvin and Carter, the twin, had bad blood, and they didn't speak to each other for years. The person who killed Calvin isn't just trying to imitate him, he's trying to become him. The reason they have bad blood is because Calvin stole Carter's wife and or girlfriend.
Yeah, I left that whole part out because it was just...
That's tea. You left it out.
Sorry.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was also half paying attention.
He came into his life again and was trying to be like a good brother finally, and then he like steals his woman.
Swoops in.
Makes him, I think that woman ends up becoming Calvin's second wife, and then they get divorced.
That's the tea.
That's the tea.
That's the tea.
Oh yeah, me and tea. That's the tea.
All right. So Calvin, he also had a daughter in addition to having a twin brother, and he hadn't seen his daughter in 15 years. So Rosewood and Via go and they like track her down, and they go to her apartment and they find her, and they're like, oh, like when was the last time you saw your dad? And she was like, what? He was here like 3 hours ago. And then they're like, what? They're like, is he still here?
Where is he?
And she was like, oh, he brought me peaches. And this is like triggers like a childhood memory she has.
She's like, wait, he was here 3 hours ago. I have his wet shirt.
She's like, oh, he brought me peaches. And it's like this sweet childhood memory between just the two of them. Even her mom didn't know about this thing with the peaches. Like there was a peach tree and like they would always pick peaches or something together. So Rosewood like digs through this girl's trash that he just met 2 minutes ago. He pulls out a half-eaten peach and he's like, I'm gonna take this. And she's like, okay.
Does he even confirm that Calvin was the one who ate the peach?
No, and I was so ready for her to say, I ate that.
That's my DNA that you're gonna find on there.
And he's like, this is a promising lead to finding out who this man is that's impersonating Calvin. So Rosewood Then he like finds that the killer extracted his teeth and he made a dental bridge, and that's how he was able to match Calvin's exact smile to make it more believable.
So he took his hair and his teeth.
Mm-hmm. And that so another doctor at the psychiatric facility, he is now found dead, and he had just called Via, and he was like, I have information, but I don't know what to do with this. And he was like, he seems like guilty almost when he was talking to her.
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be revealed he's the one impersonating Calvin.
Right, and then I was like, it's too early.
It is
too much time left.
I checked the time. I like tapped my screen. I was like, no, it's a little early.
So this doctor, Via, thinks he knew who the killer was, and that it was actually one of his patients, and he was trying to like call her to tell her that he knew something. So everyone's there, Aubrey's there, Via and Rosewood, they find him, and Via and Aubrey are like in the room where the doctor is, and like on the other side of that wall is the waiting room, and that's where Rosewood is, and he hears Via talking like through the vent, and that's how they know like, okay, somebody was in the waiting room, and that's how they knew all of this confidential information. They were just listening through the wall.
For therapy.
Exactly.
For a psychiatric facility.
This is how the killer knew all of these intimate facts about Calvin's life. He was simply just sitting there listening.
He was just existing in the waiting room and was hearing all of this trauma.
So Via and the captain have like a list of the dead doctor's patients, and they're all likely suspects, so they need to go through and interview all of them.
So this killer isn't thinking like himself anymore. He's trying to think like Calvin. So Rosewood says they also need to think like Calvin. Can you imagine if he just pulled out like a hairpiece, like a crazy hairpiece? Like we all need to be Calvin. He pulls out crazy costumes for everybody.
It turns into a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yes. He pulls off his face and he's actually Calvin underneath. So at the lab, they're working on the body still. They always like, they make it seem like autopsies go on for days.
I know.
For days. And I've talked about this before. When I first started working at the morgue, people would ask how long an autopsy takes or like how many cases we'd have per week. And I'm like, okay, like per day we get like 3 or 4 because that's the average that we had when I first started. And people are like, wow, I thought maybe you'd do like 1 or 2 a week. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right. They like drag it out in these episodes.
I mean, there are certain areas that are like less populated that might have that case count, but like we're in a pretty well populated area. No.
And it's also pretty rare for us, at least with the cases that we get and like the circumstances around them, that like we'll pull the body back out like day 2 and look for something. They seem to like do that for like day 3, day 4. Like they just have this body and it's never going to get released to the funeral home.
I also just want to reiterate, and we've talked about this every time we talk to about Rosewood. Rosewood is a private practice. Why do the Miami...
He should not have the body for this long.
Like and I know they explain it earlier in the season, I'm sure, like why they choose Rosewood to do their examinations for the PD. But like he's like, he must be contracted or something. But like it's a private practice. It's not like he works for the county or for the city. It's just he's just
holding his body hostage.
Yeah. So at the lab, they're still working on the body. They use shavings from the latera malleus bone to help them find the source of Calvin's brittle bone issue. It's from Wooburite. Am I saying that right? Maybe.
Who knows?
Probably
because
not.
I tried to Google it. It doesn't exist.
What?
I Googled Wooburite and all I got was this episode of Rosewood.
Are you kidding me?
I swear.
Wait.
Like, I'm under the impression now that this is just made up.
What? I didn't do my homework. I didn't look it up. But I'm going to have to now.
They were saying it's from like, it's like a material and found in like clothing from like the 70s and 80s.
Are we spelling it correctly? Is that how it's spelled?
It's in the title of the episode.
Oh my God. So anyway, apparently this mystery substance helped the team find where the killer was taking his next victim. Oh, and then just put in the notes, I tried to look up Wooburite and I think it's made up. I didn't get that far. So one of the dead doctor's patients was the one impersonating Calvin. His name is Gene. He thought... Why did that make you laugh?
I don't know.
His name is Gene.
The way you said it.
He thought he could be a better Calvin than Calvin was. He studied people, and this episode is ridiculous, and I love it. I love it. It's so crazy. Guys, watch Rosewood. It's ridiculous and so
you
fun.
You never know like what you're in
for. It's so crazy. So he thought he could be a better Calvin than Calvin. And he studied people and thought he could fix their problems better than they ever could. Take a shot at my life, please. Let me know. I'll make you a wig. You don't have to peel my scalp. We'll
dye it orange.
We'll dye it orange. You'll get to have so much fun hair. Just let me know if you can fix my problems better than me. Take some notes. Just observe me for a day. So a sniper ends up shooting him through the window during a really tense standoff with police. He has a gun to somebody else's head for his next victim. Then I guess he's going to try and impersonate them. He was talking to Via about how messed up her life was.
Yeah, like he was getting like visibly angry.
Well, yeah, he was talking about her dead husband. Mm-hmm. Dude, a lot of drama in this episode. Highly recommend watching it and seeing the craziness. And I need to look up Wooburite.
Just watch like the entirety of Rosewood because it's so funny.
It's so good. It's so good.
So now we're gonna get into a really fun true crime.
I'm gonna grab my phone and look up Wooburite.
So in the beginning with the pigs, immediately it made me think of Robert Pickton.
Yes.
Who infamously fed his victims to pigs on his pig farm. So let's get into the background and story of Robert Pickton. So
it's just Rosewood.
It's just Rosewood. Wooburite is made up. So anyway, Robert Pickton, also known as the Pig Farm Killer or the Butcher, was a Canadian serial killer and pig farmer. After dropping out of school, he left a butcher's apprenticeship to begin working full-time at his family's pig farm, and then he inherited that in the early 1990s. So between 1995 and 2001, Pickton is believed to have murdered at least 26 women, many of them prostitutes in Vancouver's downtown east side. Pickton would later confess to 49 murders to an undercover officer that was disguised as a cellmate, and going on to say that he wanted to make it an even 50, but thought he was caught because he got, quote, sloppy. In 2007, he was convicted on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years, which is the longest possible sentence for a second-degree murder under Canadian law at that time. And in 2010, the Crown Attorney officially stayed the remaining 20 murder charges, allowing previously unrevealed information to be made available to the public, including that Pickton previously had a 1997 attempted murder charge dropped.
Oh.
Crown prosecutors reasoned that staying the additional charges made the most sense since Pickton was already serving the maximum sentence allowable.
So the discovery of Pickton's crime sparked widespread outrage and forced the Canadian government to acknowledge the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women, with the British Columbia provincial government forming the Missing Women Commission of Inquiry to examine the role of police in the matter. Pickton died in 2024 after being attacked and imprisoned by another inmate. In his early life, his mother, Louise, often sent the brothers to school in unwashed clothes, smelling of manure, earning them the nickname Stinky Piggy from their classmates. Robert was strongly attached to her and rarely interacted with his abusive father. He struggled in school, being put in a special class after failing grade 2. At the age of 12, he began raising calf, which became his beloved pet. 2 weeks later, after not finding it after school, he was told to check the barn and was distraught to find his calf slaughtered. Pickton dropped out of school in 1963 and began working as a meat cutter. He continued to do so for nearly 7 years before leaving to work full-time at his farm. In 1978 and 1979, his parents passed and the siblings inherited the pig farm, selling parts for $5.16 million.
That's in Canadian
money. Pickton, did you know Canadian money is called like loonies and toonies?
What?
Yep.
No.
There you go.
Like Looney Tunes?
Kinda.
Is that where the name came from?
I have no idea. I just know like used to live in Buffalo and like loonies and toonies. That's what they call it.
That's adorable.
Isn't that cute? Anyway, cue the mail from Canada telling me that I'm wrong. Not emails, mail. They're going to mail me directly.
Yeah, they're going to find you.
Pickton became wealthy by selling parts of his farmland to property developers as the economy of the Lower Mainland grew exponentially in the 80s and the 90s. He often hosted parties at the nightclub called Piggy's Palace. Oh my God, he would just like really...
He hosted it at the farm.
Yeah, I got that. The Piggy, that's crazy. which attracted the political and economic elites of the Lower Mainland, along with the Hells Angels.
On March 23rd, 1997, Pickton was charged with the attempted murder of sex worker Wendy Lynn Esteter, whom he stabbed 4 times during an altercation at the farm. She told police he had handcuffed her and that she had escaped after suffering several lacerations. She told them she had disarmed him, stabbed him with his weapon,
Hell yeah.
and then he sought treatment at Eagle Ridge Hospital while she recovered at the nearest emergency room. On February 6, 2002, police executed a search warrant for illegal firearms at the Pickton property. Both Pickton brothers were arrested, and police obtained a second warrant using what they had seen on the property to search the farm, as well as the BC Missing Women investigation. Personal items belonging to missing women were found at the farm, which was sealed off by members of the joint RCMP and the Vancouver Police Department Task Force. The following day, Pickton was charged with weapons offenses. Both brothers were later released, and Robert was kept under police surveillance. And then in that same year, on February 22nd, Pickton was arrested again and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Serena Abbotsway and Mona Wilson. On April 2nd, 3 more charges were added for the murders of Jacqueline McDonnell, Diane Rock, and Heather Bottomley. A 6th and final murder of Audrey Joesbury was laid on April 9th, followed shortly by a 7th for Brenda Wolfe. On September 20th, 4 more were added for Georgia Papin, Patricia Johnson, Helen Hallmark, and Jennifer Ferminger. After 4 for Heather Chinnock, another 4 for Heather Chinnock, Tanya Holek, Shelley Irving, and Ingo Hall were laid on October 3rd. On May 26, 2005, 12 more came for Cara Ellis, Andrea Borhaven, Deborah Lynn Jones, Marnie Frey, Tiffany Drew, Carrie Koski, Sarah DeVries, Cynthia Felix, Angela Jardine, Wendy Crawford, Diana Melnick, and Jane Doe, bringing the total to 27.
Excavations continued at the farm through November 2003. The cost of the investigation was about $70 million in Canadian currency by the end of 2003, according to the provincial government. Property was fenced off under lien by the Crown in in right of British Columbia and remains so as of 2023. Sorry, I'm like choking over here.
I know.
In the meantime, all the buildings on the property except for the small barn had been demolished. Forensic analysis proved difficult because the bodies had been left to decompose or be eaten by insects and pigs on the farm. During the early days of the excavation, forensic anthropologists brought in heavy equipment using 2 50-foot flat conveyor belts and soil sifters to find traces of human remains. By March 10th, 2004, the government revealed that Pickton may have ground up human flesh and mixed it with pork and sold it to the public.
Ew.
Yeah. The health authorities later issued a warning about this. Another claim was made that he fed the bodies directly to his pigs. In 2003, a preliminary hearing was held, and the clothes and rubber boots that Pickton had been wearing during the Esteter assault were seized by the police and from an RCMP storage locker. In 2004, lab testing showed that the DNA of two of the women, Borhaven and Alice, were also on these items. Crazy.
So Pickton's trial began on January 30th, 2006 in New Westminster. Pickton pleaded not guilty to the 27 charges of first-degree murder in the Supreme Court of British Columbia. The voir dire phase of the trial took most of the year to determine what evidence might be admitted before the jury. Reporters were not allowed to disclose of any of the material presented in the arguments. On March 17th, one of the courts was rejected by Justice James Williams for lack of evidence. And on August 9th, Justice Williams severed the charges, splitting them into one group of 6 counts and another of 20. So the details of what was found were finally able to be released to the public, and this is what was exactly released. First, during Pickton's trial, lab staff testified that about 8 unidentified DNA profiles, roughly half male and half female, have been detected on evidence. The second was a loaded .22 revolver with a dildo over the barrel and 1 round fired, boxes of .357 Magnum handgun ammunition, night vision goggles, 2 pairs of faux fur-lined handcuffs, a syringe with 3 milliliters of blue liquid inside, and Spanish fly aphrodisiac were found inside Pickton's trailer. In a videotaped recording played for the jury, Pickton claimed to have attached the dildo to his weapon as a makeshift silencer. This explanation was impractical at best, and revolvers are nearly impossible to silence in this manner.
That's
disgusting.
I never heard that part of this story or this event.
I can't imagine like the public's reaction at the time to hearing all of this.
It's crazy. This is crazy. I'm sorry, continue.
It's okay. The third was a photo tape of Pickton's friend Scott Chubb saying Pickton had told him a good way to kill a female heroin addict was to inject her with windshield washer fluid. A second tape was played for Pickton in which an associate named Andrew Bellwood said Pickton mentioning killing sex workers by handcuffing and strangling them, then bleeding and gutting them before feeding them to the pigs. And the fourth was photos of the contents of a garbage can found in Pickton's slaughterhouse, which held some remains from victim Mona Wilson.
I hate that very much. Hate all of this. On December 9th, 2007, the jury found Pickton not guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder, but he was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder. On December 11th, 2007, after reading 18 victim impact statements, British Columbia Supreme Court Judge Justice James Williams sentenced Pickton to life without the possibility of parole for 25 years, the maximum punishment for second-degree murder, and equal to the sentence which he would have been imposed for a first-degree murder conviction, stating, quote, Mr. Pickton's conduct was murderous and repeatedly so. I cannot know the details, but I know this. What happened to them was senseless and despicable, unquote. On May 19th, 2024, Pickton was attacked by another prisoner at the Port Cartier Institute in Quebec. The prisoner, Martin Charest, described as having a history of assaulting other prisoners, took a broomstick, broke the handle, and shoved it into Pickton's face. Correctional officer intervened, handcuffed Charest, and took him to the Structured Intervention Unit. Pickton was airlifted to a hospital and put on life support, but he died at the hospital in Quebec City from complications of the attack on May 31st of that year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to
I didn't know
in such a short period of time.
I didn't know a lot of this about this case. I just knew like, oh,
he killed sex workers.
Victim. Yeah, he killed sex workers and he fed them to pigs. I didn't know a lot of the details of this. It's despicable. It's disgusting.
I think it's always interesting kind of reading about like the early life of them and kind of like seeing those red flags of like, okay, well, all of this happened, which made him the way he was.
Yeah. And I think that's what fascinates people about true crime and serial killers like that. And I always just think, though, there are so many people out there who have had very similar experiences to that. And I've also had very terrible upbringings that end up being good people, that end up doing good things, that end up not being like this. So I always get like upset when people are like, oh, well, like he was like this because of his mom or because of his parents. I'm like, there are a lot of people out there with terrible upbringings who do a lot of good in the world. And then there's people like this.
Right. It's like a 50-50.
Yeah. Like what? It can't just be that. Like it's frustrating.
And then you get into the whole like philosophical, well, are you born evil?
Nature versus nurture. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a lot.
Yeah, this was a heavy one. It's just like he said, senseless and despicable. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I don't even think we counted red flags and green flags in this
episode. We didn't. We were so distracted. There weren't a lot of like autopsy scenes. Definitely.
Rosewood is just so distracting.
I honestly don't think I had any green flags. If I'm being honest,
there's no green flags. I think the stomach is a huge red flag.
Red flag for the stomach. What can we say? Let's see. Were there any green flags? I don't know if there were any green flags.
I don't think there were any.
Hey, if we miss any green flags,
I don't think Rosewood gives us many green flags.
He gives us a green flag for the enjoyment of the show.
For the entertainment value.
The entertainment of the show. We didn't even get into the women of Rosewood. He had like
a
love
because Aubrey was one of his past lovers.
He proposed to her,
and
guys.
then there was a second girl who like came because she heard what was happening, and that was like the current girlfriend that he's seeing.
Yeah.
And Via was also one of the women of Rosewood.
Via's
so it was
all,
like
you
all
know
of
they be
them.
flirting. You know. That's how these shows go. So just green flag for Rosewood. Just getting it. Just getting it. Just getting it. Yeah, so not a lot of green flags from us for this episode, so I don't think this episode passed in our terms of forensic accuracy. But hey, if you disagree with us, let us know. Shoot us a message, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can find us on Instagram at Inside the Morgue Pod. It's the same on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
You
can email us.
You can email us also insidethemorguepod@gmail.com. Make sure to check out Young Junk on YouTube and all their fun content. There's a lot of fun content out there. Check out Cold Pop. Yeah, I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
And next week, I am surprising Jess with a crazy topic that she doesn't know yet.
I have no idea.
And I'm excited. I hope I'm not.
You're going to see my reaction in real time.
I'm very, very excited. So tune in next time for a brand new dissection.
Bye.
Bye.
Young Junk!